I sold the house 6 years ago. It was a clean sale. No drama, no shared ownership. I signed the papers, handed over the keys, and watched someone else's car pull into the driveway a month later. I moved across town, then across the state. New job, new number, new routines. There was no reason for it to still be connected to my life. That's what I told myself when the alert came in. It was just after 2 a.m. My phone buzzed on the nightstand, sharp and insistent. I almost ignored it. I don't get notifications that late unless something's wrong with my current place, and I live in an apartment with no cameras installed. The alert wasn't from my bank or my email. It was from my home security app. The name at the top of the screen was the old address. For a second, I thought I'd misread it, half asleep, wrong app. But when I opened it, there it was in plain text, the house I sold, the house I hadn't stepped foot in years. Motion detected. Living room. I stared at the screen, waiting for it to correct itself, waiting for the app to refresh and realize the mistake. It didn't. The clip autoplayed. The footage was grainy, night vision washed in pale green. The angle was exactly where I'd mounted it years ago, high in the corner above the bookshelf. The living room was empty at first. Then someone walked into frame. They were carrying a box. Not a moving box. One of the old plastic storage bins I used to keep under the stairs. Same size, same cracked corner, same faded label on the side. They crossed the room slowly and set it down beside the couch. My couch. I felt a jolt of something cold move through me when I realized the furniture was arranged the way I used to keep it, not how the listing photos showed it, not how the new owners had staged it, how I lived. The couch angled slightly toward the window. The end table pulled closer than most people would bother with. The lamp placed just far enough back so it wouldn't glare on the TV. I knew those placements because I'd done them 100 times without thinking. The clip ended. Another alert came in immediately. Motion detected, hallway. I sat up in bed. My first thought was that the app hadn't been fully disconnected, some back-end error. Maybe the new owners reused the system and never reset it properly. That explanation felt reasonable, technical, safe. Until I watched the second clip. The camera in the hallway showed the runner rug I used to own, the one with the dark stain near the edge that never quite came out. Someone was kneeling, smoothing it with both hands, adjusting it until the pattern lined up with the floorboards. They stood, stepped back, then nudged it half an inch to the left, exactly where I used to keep it. My stomach tightened. I tried to access the account settings. The app asked my password, then accepted it without issue. The house was still listed as active, still tied to my name. I scrolled through the device list. Every camera was online. Living room, hallway, spare bedroom, basement. The basement camera shouldn't have worked. It had shorted out before I moved. I'd never replaced it. Another alert came in. Motion detected, spare bedroom. I didn't want to open it. I did anyway. The spare bedroom was mostly empty when I lived there. Just a desk, a chair, boxes stacked neatly against the wall. In the clip, someone carried in a small wooden shelf. My shelf. They placed it against the wall, stepped back, then adjusted it slightly so the bottom didn't scrape the baseboard. Then they reached into the box they were carrying and took out a framed photo. I recognized it instantly.
It was a picture I'd packed away years ago, one I didn't take with me because it hurt too much to look at. I'd left it in a box marked miscellaneous and forgotten about it. They hung it crooked at first, then straightened it, perfectly level.
The person never looked at the camera, but just before the clip ended, they paused and turned their heads slightly, like they were listening, like they knew I was watching. I locked my phone and sat there in the dark, heart racing, trying to slow my breathing. I told myself I'd call the security company in the morning, tell them to remove the address, shut everything down. That's when the final alert came through. Motion detected. Basement. I hesitated longer this time. When I opened it, the screen showed the basement lights off, the space lit only by the camera's night vision. Cardboard boxes lined the walls, more than I remembered leaving behind. Someone moved through them carefully, picking things up one by one. A mug, set on the workbench. A stock of books, placed in order. A coat, hung on the hook by the stairs. All of it arranged the way it used to be. Not how it was sold, not how it should be now. At the end of the clip, the person stopped at the bottom of the stairs and looked up, directly at the camera. They raised a hand, holding something small. My old house key. The alert timestamped itself, 2:47 a.m. Then another notification appeared beneath it. Motion detected. Entryway. The door I used to come home through. I didn't sleep after that. I sat on the edge of my bed with the lights on, phone in my hand, refreshing the app every few minutes like I could will it to correct itself. The address stayed. The cameras stayed online. The alerts kept coming, spaced out just enough to feel intentional. At 3:02 a.m., there was movement in the kitchen. The clip showed the counter beneath the window. Someone placed a dish rack beside the sink. Not centered, slightly off to the right, where I used to keep it so the cabinet door wouldn't hit. At 3:11, motion in the dining area. A chair was pulled out, adjusted, then pushed back in. One leg scraped briefly, then stopped. They lifted it and set it down again, aligning it with the others. I realized then that nothing was being rushed. This wasn't someone moving in. This was someone restoring. I finally called the security company. Their automated system kept me on hold long enough for another alert to come through. Motion detected, master bedroom. I muted the call and opened the clip. The bedroom looked emptier than I remembered. The bed was gone, the dresser too, but the nightstand was there. My nightstand, the one with the loose drawer that always stuck. Someone placed a phone charger on top of it and threaded the cable through the small notch in the back, a habit I didn't even know I had until I saw it done. I hung up and tried again later. No answer. I left a message asking them to remove the address immediately. At 4 a.m., the app sent a different kind of notification. System update complete. Nothing else changed. No settings, no prompts. Just one new camera added to the list. Front porch. That camera hadn't existed when I lived there. The clip from it looted automatically. The porch light was on, the door closed. For a few seconds, nothing happened. Then someone stepped into frame and set a cardboard box down near the wall. They knelt, opened it, and began removing items carefully. My shoes. The pair I used to leave by the door because I hated tracking dirt through the house. They lined them up toe to heel, adjusting until they sat flush with the edge of the mat. I felt something sink in my chest. This wasn't about the house. It was about me. I dug through my email until I found the closing documents,
the buyer's name, the real estate agent. I called the agent first. She answered groggily and confused. "The house," she said, "it's been resold twice since you moved."
I asked who owned it now. She didn't know offhand, promised to look into it. Before we hung up, she added something that made my skin crawl. "Are you sure this is the right address?" she asked. "That place never stays furnished long." I didn't ask her what she meant. At 4:38 a.m., motion in the living room again. This time, the clip was longer. Someone carried in a box I recognized immediately, one I hadn't remembered leaving behind until that moment. The box of things I never unpacked. They set it on the floor, opened it, and paused. Their hands hovered over the contents like they were deciding what went where. They took out an object and walked toward the bookshelf, the shelf where I used to keep it. The clip cut off before I could see what it was. A message appeared on the screen where the playback controls should have been. "Policeman requires confirmation." I stared at it, pulse loud in my ears. Another alert followed, softer than the rest. "Are you watching?" At 5:01 a.m., the cameras went quiet. No more motion, no updates. Just the address, still active, still tied to my name. And one final notification sitting at the top of the screen when the sun came up. Occupancy nearly restored. I spent the morning calling everyone. The security company first, then the realtor again, then the county records office. I was bounced between departments, put on hold, transferred, asked to verify my identity over and over. Everyone agreed on one thing. I no longer owned the house. It wasn't registered to me. It wasn't associated with my current address. As far as their systems were concerned, I shouldn't have been able to see anything inside it. By noon, the security company called back. They sounded uneasy. They told me the account wasn't active anymore. Not suspended, not pending removal. Transferred. Transferred to who? I asked. There was a pause. Keyboard clicks. "It doesn't show a recipient," the technician said. "Just a status change, like ownership was accepted." I asked when. He checked. "Last night," he said, "around 3. That lined up with the porch camera coming online. I told him to shut everything down anyway, remove the address, delete the devices. He agreed, said he'd escalate it, said I'd get a confirmation email. The email never came. That night, my phone didn't buzz. No alerts, no motion clips, no system updates. I almost believed it was over. Around 1 a.m., I opened the app myself. The address was gone. In its place was a single entry. No street name, no city, just a label. Primary residence. I didn't top it. I locked the phone and set it face down on the table. That's when I noticed the silence. My apartment is never completely quiet. Pipes knock. A neighbor's TV hums through the wall. Someone's always coming or going. That night, there was nothing. I got up and checked the door. Locked. Deadbolt engaged. Chain in place. Still, I felt watched. I tried to sleep on the couch. I couldn't. Every time I closed my eyes, I pictured rooms being adjusted. Objects lifted, turned, set down with care. At 2:47 a.m.,
My phone vibrated once. No sound, just the vibration. I picked it up. Motion detected. Entryway. I don't have cameras in my apartment. The clip opened anyway. It showed my old front door, the one from the house I sold, but the angle was wrong. The camera was lower now, closer to the floor, like it had been repositioned. The door opened inward. Someone stepped inside carrying a small box. They crossed the threshold and paused, looking around, then smiled slightly, like they were satisfied. They set the box down and opened it. Inside were things I hadn't seen in years. A spare set of keys, a stack of mail I never forwarded, a sweater I lost during the move. They took the sweater out and folded it neatly, placing it on the table beside the door. My table. I dropped the phone. When I picked it back up, the app had switched feeds. Motion detected. Living room. Not the old one. Mine.
The footage was live. I was sitting on the couch, phone in my hands, face pale, eyes wide. The camera angle was high, tucked into the corner near the ceiling, a place I'd never checked because there was nothing there. Behind me, just out of frame, something moved. The alert text changed. Placement in progress. Please do not interrupt. I don't live alone anymore. I just haven't been put back in place yet. And every night since, I've found small things moved. A mug set closer to the edge of the counter. Shoes aligned more neatly than I remember leaving them. A chair angled slightly toward the window. Always improvements. Always familiar. The app sends fewer alerts now. It doesn't need to. The house already knows where everything goes, including me.